All right, we are live with Measure Across America. We have made it to the great and historic Williamsburg, Virginia, here at the American Traffic Safety Service Association mid-year conference. The Tesla made it good, and so did the LLG7. You can see it's a little dirtier than it started out to be, but we made it. Here's the rain. Doesn't surprise me. We were expecting it. We got rained out near the end, as you'll see in a moment. But hey, you know, a couple things that we did I wanted to go over. This was not all rainbows and unicorns. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that we had to overcome and do, including this rain that's falling on me now. We have we had color. I want to tell you a little bit what we did. The machine got the color, got the width, the markings. It got the retro, including its maximum, minimum, average, standard deviation. It counted the RPMs. It got the GPS coordinates. Then we did some manual stuff on the side. So as we were driving, and this is kind of where where the difficulties came in, is we were trying to gather as much information as we could. So we were looking at line type. Was it a skip, a solid, and was it a double yellow? Was it a single yellow? We had to make sure that we stayed on the yellow, so we were knocking out the turn bays. We had 50 miles an hour. We wanted to make sure, because as you know, the federal highway is looking at a 50 mile per hour or greater change in retroreflectivity, or a higher retroreflectivity for that. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to say anything that was under 50, anything that was over 50, so we could separate that data out. Material type, that was a really tough one, trying to stay on top of that. We did a pretty good job of it, I think. 27 years of industry experience, I was able to tell what was what in most cases, but a lot of times there was paint over thermo or thermo over paint, and sometimes you couldn't tell which one it was. So that was a bit of a struggle. Again, maintaining that speed limit, trying to, sometimes it wasn't marked, or the car was telling me it was 45, but the speed limit sign was saying it was 55. So we ran into that a little bit. Rumble strips, we were watching for rumble strips. We wanted to get a good reading on those. There's been some issues with those, and we want to make sure that we can get the right readings on those. Next is the line width. We started out trying to, was it a 4, was it a 6, was it 4, was it 6? It really became too difficult because it was almost undistinguishable by a lot of these lines, because my guess is they started out as a 4-inch because they were about 2.5 inches. So we did knock that one out after a while. We actually used the call out for that one. Later we used it for if it was wet or if the line was damp or something like that, which really helped us. That's something else we looked at. Work zones. We wanted to mark work zones, give a fair shake on work zones. If there's a lot of debris, if it's just temp striping or something of that, we wanted to make sure we knew that. Autopilot failures. This is something for the AV. We wanted to note on the system when the AV was failing, what markings calls that, and so forth. I gotta be honest with you, I was blown away by the success on the AV. We were in autopilot probably 95% of the driving. 95%. Incredible. I was impressed. Now, let's see. Lane positioning. So here's some things that was tough. Lane positioning is a tough thing if you're not in a Tesla driving with autopilot, but lane positioning, make sure you stayed in the lane. The traffic around us, especially when we got into little towns and so forth, making sure nobody hit anything, including my car. Next, we had to deal with slow speeds, because remember, we're on back roads, so we're 45, 55 miles an hour. We're not 70, 80 as we are on the interstates. So that was a little unnerving sometimes. Indirect routes. We went all over the place. We actually crossed a ferry on the way here. So we were trying to take those back roads, make sure we get that kind of data. Another thing that we did was we had to deal with the rain that was starting to fall. That was kind of an issue that was troublesome. Overall, beautiful roads. I love the countryside. We had a great time. Nice people. Ran into a lot of people. Everybody asking, "Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that?" So we got kind of used to that. We actually tracked those numbers. How many people said that? Good weather, except for the end. We had great weather all the way up. We had, of course, I had good company. I got my son with me, and so that's always nice to go on a road trip with your son, and of course a nice ride. It was pleasant to and kind of cool, kind of fun riding up, and ultimately great data. We had great data. It's just amazing. I've already went through a lot of it, compiled most of it. It doesn't take that long, and found some really interesting facts. So I can't wait to share some of that with you, including average reflectivity of the states. What the yellow failure, I was blown away by how much yellow failure. I'll share that later. All right, and really that's about it. It was overall great trip, good experience, but again, not always so easy. There's things you have to watch out for, especially traffic and you know, we almost ran over a rattlesnake, so that was kind of cool. It was a big one, so I can't wait to see that actually on the video of all the things, right? Hey, thanks a lot for watching us. Had a great time, and we'll be sharing more later maybe, but definitely sharing the data with those that are asking. You guys have a great and safe day. God bless you, and we appreciate everything.